Gretchen Piper is the DFL-endorsed candidate for Senate District 33. That's currently a Republican seat in the hands of Senator Dave Osmek. She's kind enough to join us today to talk about her campaign and hopefully getting her into St. Paul. Gretchen, thank you much. I appreciate the time today.
Hi, Matt.
Hello. How are you?
I am very well. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time for us. I know you're a very busy schedule. It's very nice to have you on because you are one of those seats I think the DFL can pick up, and I want to do everything we can here to try to help you. But first of all, let's explain to everyone out there who's listening who exactly is Gretchen Piper.
So Gretchen Piper is, I'm a longtime resident of Senate District 33. So where that is, we're out here sort of wrapping our arms around Lake Minnetonka, all the way up to the farms of Corcoran and down to Chanhassen, west to Greenfield and Loretto, Minnetrista, and Mound. So kind of from the west of the Twin Cities. And I am from here, actually come from the A side of the district, the north side. And I grew up in Hamel and Maple Plain. My family's mostly still here, and I live in Wayzata with my family, our 2 kids. So that's kind of me. What else do you want to know?
Well, how about what, obviously at the pedigree, you know the district pretty well. What prompted you to say, you know what, I'm going to run for Senate?
Well, a couple things. I think that having grown up here and living here and raising our family, I know that we share so many of the same values with our neighbors, even if we disagree on politics. I just think that there's so many things that we could get done in St. Paul if we agree to work together on them and just stop the partisan shenanigans. And I'm enough of an optimist to think that my experience in my business life and in raising my family and, growing up and disagreeing with people, but still being friends with them and getting things done. I'm enough of an optimist to believe that not only will I be elected, but that I'll be able to get things done at the Capitol. I'm just incredibly frustrated with the lack of progress that's being made right now, mostly due to roadblocks being put up.
Well, and it should be noted, it's the Republicans that are doing a lot of this. It's this modern mentality of my way or the highway, that their feeling of bipartisanship is we tolerated the DFL being in the room with us when we wrote the bill. And, whether it's bills like, Omnibus Rex, the omnibus bill that was written in the middle of the night and chucked at people, or it's I want you to win. Let me explain to everyone why I want Dave Osmek out of the Senate.
I can't wait to hear it.
Back in 2017, the Trump administration and the federal government passed rules which made it easier for people to get access to your internet surf history. So your internet history would be for sale, including the internet history of your children would be for sale. On a 66-1 vote in the Senate, they passed regulations which toughened the laws, which made selling people's internet history, including your children's internet history, much harder and basically illegal. I think it made it illegal. On that 66-1 vote, only one person voted against it. That was Dave Osmek. The House passed their own version of the bill, and Dave Osmek, by himself, it sure sounds like he was by himself, was part of the Reconciliation Committee between the Senate and the House, himself yanked a 66-1 bill out of this and said, we don't need it. And at that point, I said, we didn't elect you governor. You're the senator from District 33, and they elected you. But they sure didn't give you the power to overrule pretty much the rest of the state's politicians and yank a bill out, especially a bill which I've got 2 daughters. I don't want creepos getting their internet history and seeing where my daughters are visiting online. But apparently Senator Osmek feels that's okay. And he says, there's laws on the books and stuff. This was something that was passed in most other states. And Osmek on his own went out of the way to basically make it easier for people to basically buy your internet search history. That's not, as you talk about working with the other side and stuff like that, that's not working with the other side. That's having an agenda. And that person needs to be thrown out of St. Paul.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that story before?
Yes, at some point, I think that our senator forgot that he's representing us, the people of the District of 33 and also the state of Minnesota. And I think that's exactly why I'm running, because I believe that I can represent us better. I know that I can, and I have the experience and the chops to do it.
Let's talk about some of the issues that you want to champion. Obviously, you can tell why I don't like Senator Osmek. What are the things that if you get into St. Paul as the senator from 33, what are the things you want to champion for that district?
Well, I mean, the issues of the district are the same as the issues of the state, right? I mean, we all care about our kids getting a great high-quality education. We want to be sure that we have access to great health care and that we can afford it. That we protect the environment. I mean, in this district, we have some of the most beautiful lakes in the state, and they deserve our attention and protection. Supporting great companies and small businesses, many of whom are based right out here in Senate District 33, and getting infrastructure investments done. I mean, if you can believe some parts of the district are only about 15 minutes from downtown, and we have places that close to town that do not have high-speed internet access. So, I'm looking at our kids trying to study remotely, trying to catch Wi-Fi at the local McDonald's so they can turn in their paper or attend class last spring. So, stuff like that. Like, we can get this done.
Mm-hmm. The district does, as you talk about the district, it is a really eclectic district, because you do have some of the wealthiest people in the state. Some of the beautiful mansions. I used to live over on PV Lane in Wayzata. You have got some of the more wealthy people in the state in your district. And yet as well, you also have some of the last bastions of rural farmland left in the Hennepin County that are still there. And as we can talk about farm margins, my gosh, they're 26,000 if you're lucky. Talk about the dynamic there. I mean, I think one of the things I love about your candidacy is that being from the district, it gives you a better understanding of those two dynamics, the other sides of the record there. You understand what you're dealing with here is not just clearly not just a one-size-fits-all. You have to look at, you are one of the few legislators, I think, in that district will have to be one of the few legislators that has to look at things from a metro and a rural standard.
That's exactly right. I mean, we have 20 very diverse cities, 11 different school districts. We're suburban, rural, facing huge development pressures, really changing towns and cities, and attending all the city council meetings that I've done and visiting with our school superintendents. It's really interesting to hear the pressures that they feel. I mean, even within one school district, we're facing those big differences between haves and have-nots and between rural and suburban. And, I come from the area. I managed a farm. I've lived in many different areas of the country, but this has been home for most of my life. And I do understand that. I actually live just very close to where you mentioned that you lived before. But I've also lived on a farm, 2 different farms up in Hamel. And those are my neighbors and my friends. And I can tell you, they know me. We know one another. We sit around the kitchen table. We disagree, and then we agree. We share a lot of values. We care about our kids. We care about our schools. And people are sick of the shenanigans. Yeah. And we need to get stuff done. And I have been doing that my whole life, putting my values into action. I come from a family of service, and I was taught that when, you need to give back. And so this is my chance. I really feel strongly that all of us need to do that. And I'm ready to do it now. And I think, as you mentioned, it's a winnable seat.
Oh, I think it is.
Yeah.
I know conservatives in that district who do not like Osmek, who feel as if he does have a bit of a I'm the king kind of mentality about him. And I think that you'll always, he'll always have his backers, but the reality is that we need someone that understands these dynamics. How do you create growth without losing the uniqueness of the communities? I mean, and you guys have done it pretty well out there. How do you deal with issues of that are clearly issues of that might affect a person from the upper middle class, upper class, while at the same time also making sure you're addressing issues that deal with farmers and rural America as well? I mean, you need someone that's looking for everyone in the district. I think that's a winnable seat. And that's why I'm kind of glad you have some time today, because I want to try to get as many people out there to help you as possible.
Yeah, well, I hope they will. I mean, of course, I always have more to say, but I appreciate the time that you've given me. And I am hosting many different listening sessions. I do have a website up at GretchenPiper.com, and I really welcome people to reach out. I welcome the conversations. It's going to be a race that's won neighbor to neighbor and visiting with one another personally across the district. And, frankly, that's what's happening out here. I mean, the yard signs are popping up in very unexpected places. Mm-hmm. And I think you're going to see, broad bipartisan support for my race. I know I've felt that already. And it's an important seat.
It is, and we can say on the national level, we can say on the state level, we've seen Republican leadership. It doesn't exist. Republican policy is generally not going to help us. We need new ideas, and having a Senate majority will get things done. 33 is a seat we can win. If you would like to make a donation, if you would like to volunteer, once again, it's GretchenPiper.com, GretchenPiper.com. I'll link to everything a little bit later on. Donate, volunteer, help Gretchen Piper. We need to send Osmek home because he is not helping. When a guy goes in on a 66-4 one against vote and he yanks it out because he was the one no vote and he yanks it out, that's not someone looking out for the betterment of Minnesota. He's looking out for something else, and that's it. But it's not the betterment of Minnesota. We need Gretchen in St. Paul. Gretchen, I appreciate the time. All my best with your campaign, and I hope we see you in St. Paul here in 2021.
We got positive, constructive things to get done for our communities, not our parties, and I'm the one to do it. So thanks for the time, Matt, and I look for lots of people to jump in and help us out at GretchenPiper.com.
GretchenPiper.com. Gretchen Piper, Senate District 33, Democrat of the Day.